Dawn broke silent and blinding. Daniel stepped onto the porch, squinting against the sun glare on fresh snow, then froze. Tire tracks cut deep through the pristine white, leading from the tree line to the shed and back again. Someone had been there in the night. Rex growled low in his throat, staring into the woods. Moments later, an engine rumbled in the distance. A black SUV crested the ridge, sliding to a stop at the property's edge. Two men emerged, coats too expensive for mountain weather. "Mr. Hayes?" the taller one said, smile not reaching his eyes. "We represent a consortium interested in this land. We'll make it worth your while to sign over the deed." Daniel crossed his arms. "The lodge isn't for sale." The man's smile tightened. "Think carefully. Some secrets are dangerous to uncover." He left a card on the porch rail. As the SUV disappeared down the mountain, Daniel noticed Rex digging near the base of the great oak tree. Beneath gnarled roots, he found a rusted tin box holding an antique key and a complete map marking an X precisely where they'd unearthed the chest. That night, footsteps crunched outside. Daniel grabbed his rifle just as the front door splintered inward. The two men from the SUV stormed in, eyes locked on the chest beside the fire. "We warned you," one snarled. Rex launched himself forward, teeth bared, forcing the first man back with a yelp. The second lunged for the chest but slipped on melted snow, crashing into a bookshelf. In the chaos, the key flew from Daniel's pocket, skittering across the floor. Rex darted, snatched it gently in his jaws, and dropped it at Daniel's feet. "Good boy," Daniel breathed. He jammed the key into the lock. It turned with a heavy click. The lid lifted. Gold bars gleamed in the firelight. Antique coins spilled from velvet pouches. And atop it all rested a sealed envelope addressed simply, "For the Faithful." Daniel unfolded the letter inside, his uncle's handwriting steady and sure. "Wealth fades, loyalty endures. If you're reading this, you kept your promise not to me, but to yourself." Weeks later, scaffolding rose around Lodge Haven. Carpenters hammered new beams. Painters brushed warm cedar stain over weathered logs. Daniel hadn't sold a single gold bar. Instead, he'd transformed the lodge into a retreat for veterans, men and women carrying invisible wounds, searching for stillness. He called it Loyal Haven. Reporters came, microphones thrust forward, but Daniel only said, "My uncle taught me that real treasure isn't what you find in the ground. It's what you build with your hands." Former neighbors who'd mocked him now volunteered to help, their shame quiet but sincere. One evening, Daniel stood on the rebuilt porch, watching Rex chase snowflakes beneath the great oak. The dog paused, looked back at him, and wagged his tail once slow, certain. Daniel smiled, breath misting in the cold air. "You were right, Uncle," he whispered to the mountains. The lodge showed its worth, and as twilight settled over the peaks, the old place no longer felt haunted by secrets. It hummed with life, with laughter echoing through halls once silent, with the quiet certainty that some promises, like loyalty, never truly fade. They simply wait beneath the snow for the right hands to uncover them.
If this story touched something in you, hit like and subscribe for more stories where the most damaged souls find each other. And tell me below, where are you watching from tonight? I read every single comment. Daniel returned the next day, and the next. He sat outside Rex's cage, reading poetry aloud, Mary Oliver's gentle verses, Whitman's sprawling lines, the cadence of his voice becoming a steady rhythm against Rex's once ragged breathing. Rex listened, ears twitching at each pause, each inflection. On the third visit, Daniel offered a treat through the bars. Rex accepted it without snapping, his jaws closing gently around the biscuit. On the fifth day, Daniel placed his hand flat against the metal mesh. Rex pressed his forehead against it and sighed a long, shuddering release of tension. No trainer had witnessed since the raid that broke him. They began walking short loops around the secure yard, Daniel's hand resting lightly on Rex's harness, learning the subtle language of pressure and pull. The dog, who once lunged at shadows, now walked with deliberate calm, his body angled slightly toward Daniel, as if forming a living shield against a world of unseen threats. Daniel started sleeping through the night for the first time in years, no longer waking drenched in sweat at 3 a.m. Rex stopped his own midnight, pacing the exact hour his handler had died. A senior trainer watched them one afternoon from across the yard and murmured to a colleague, "They're not fixing each other. They're remembering how to be whole." Small steps, shared silence, the slow, patient unclenching of two hearts that had forgotten how to trust anything but their own pain. Then came the test. A fire alarm blared without warning, sharp, deafening, chaos erupting through the facility in an instant. Kennels rattled, dogs howled in confusion. In the pandemonium, a panicked Belgian Malinois broke free from his rookie handler's grip, charging blindly down the main corridor with teeth bared, straight toward Daniel, who stood frozen, unable to see the danger closing in. "Daniel, move!" someone shouted from across the room, but sound gave him no direction. Rex didn't hesitate. In one fluid motion, he launched himself between Daniel and the charging dog, not with teeth bared in attack, but with his entire body positioned like a wall of muscle and will. The Malinois skidded to a halt, confused by Rex's unwavering stance, his protective posture radiating absolute authority. Rex stood panting, muscles coiled but controlled, his entire body curved around Daniel like living armor. When handlers finally restrained the loose dog and silence returned to the hallway, Daniel's hand found Rex's head, fingers threading gently through coarse fur. "You saved me," he whispered, voice thick with emotion. Rex nuzzled his palm, not trembling from fear or adrenaline, but from purpose rediscovered. The dog who'd been labeled dangerous, untrainable, beyond saving, had just proven what he truly was: loyal beyond measure, protective beyond training, a warrior who had finally found his reason to stand down. The K9 review board watched the security footage in stunned silence. Clip after clip showed Rex's transformation from caged monster pacing in fury to devoted guardian walking calmly beside a blind man. They saw the moment of first contact, the daily progress, the protective intervention during the alarm incident. The decision took less than 3 minutes, unanimous approval for full adoption with no restrictions. On the morning Daniel came to take him home, Rex was already waiting by the facility door, leash held gently in his mouth, as if he'd been preparing for this moment all along. Officers lined the hallway, not with fear in their eyes anymore, but something closer to reverence, some wiping tears from weathered cheeks. As the pair walked out together into morning light, sunlight warming their shoulders, one veteran trainer who'd worked K9 units for 20 years wiped his eyes and whispered to no one in particular, "We thought we were saving dogs here. Turns out some dogs were waiting to save us." 6 months later, Daniel walks the streets of his small coastal town with quiet confidence. Rex moves slightly ahead, eyes for the blind man, peace for the once ferocious dog. They navigate sidewalks and crosswalks with seamless trust, a silent conversation passing between leash and hand. Two broken warriors didn't save each other. They completed what war had shattered. And sometimes, in the quiet spaces between heartbeats. That's enough.